Imagine running site where labor costs are all over the place. You have no clarity on how much someone has worked and how much you owe and where the money is going. Isn't it sounding chaotic? Right? But what if I tell you now you can track your skilled, unskilled, and coordinator separately? Along with that, you can make it even project wise, all in one place. And not just for you, you can also make it visible to the client so that they can also track the labor as well as the vendor if required. Hi everyone, I'm Aditi and in today's video I'll walk you through Dzylo's new labor contract and labor report feature you will where you can assign fixed labor costs to vendors, track daily attendance added by the supervisor, and you can manage payments seamlessly. Let's dive in. So, let's get started. The first step is adding a labor contract. So, for that, we have to select the project in which you want to add the labor contract. So, for example, let's say Sunita is the project. So I have to go to the financial planning of that particular project. In my financial planning, I can add different type of vendors. So let me just add a vendor. So I have to click on add and select the vendor, and then I can click on next. So now I have added Raghav Das as an electrical vendor. So if I click here, I have the option of creating contract where my purpose is to create a labor contract. So click on the contract and then click on this labor option. So now you can see that labor contract has been created. You can rename this as well, labor contract. You can write the name of the vendor as well, Raghav, and in the bracket electrical. Now I have three types of vendor here: skilled, unskilled, and coordinator. So similarly, I have to the total estimated hours for these vendors and the total cost per day I would be paying each of the vendor. So for example, for the skill, let's say I require 30 people in this, unskilled would be 45, and coordinator, let's say I am assuming that it would be required 8 coordinators. Similarly, what is the cost per day? So skilled labor, let's say I'm paying 400, unskilled would be 350, and the coordinator I am paying 750 rupees per day. So in this way I can create the total amount and then I can save this. So now you can see that I have saved the particular label contract for this vendor, that is Raghav Das. So now as we have added our labor report, the next thing is how you can manage the labor attendance in the particular project. So for that you have to go to labor, so you can directly click on this labor option, or you can go back and open the labor report on this particular project. So now, whoever is my site supervisor or who is responsible for maintaining the attendance of the labor, they can click on add and they can select the date on which the labor has attended. So, for example, today I can select the category. So, my category was electrical. So, let's say electrical work needs to be done. Select vendor. So, I will select Raghav Das, and the labor contract would be the contract that I have created just now. So, I have click here, and then now I have to add how many skilled laborers came today, unskilled as well as a coordinator. So for example, skilled labor were, let's say, 7 today, unskilled were 10, and I had 2 coordinators. So now if I want a proof, I can send the attachment as well, and I can write the remarks as well if required, and then I can submit the particular attendance of the labor on a daily basis. So in this way, you can ask a site supervisor or your project manager to do the labor attendance on a daily basis. So now as I have added my labor report attendance, the next thing is I have to go to my payments. I can directly go to my project payments, or let's say I'll go to my financial planning and I open the outflow and I open the particular vendor, and I can add my expense from here as well. So let's add an expense. So I am adding 7,800 rupees that needs to be paid. My expense type would be labor because I am paying it to the labor. Then the next, here I will select the contract of labor report, and now I would add, I can write remarks of labor payment, and I can write the date 5 Feb, and I can add the expense. So in this way the expense is added. So now if I go to the labor report, I can see that the total payable that is today, that is of 7,800, that is the payable for today. Because I have only added for 1 day, so the average cost it is showing the same. If I add 2 for example, then in that case it would show me the estimate of both by doing the average, and then the total payable that is due. So the decided amount was 33,750, out of which I have dispersed this much amount, that is 7,800. So the payable that is outstanding would be 25,950 once the labor would be coming. And the payable due, because I have paid him and it is clear, so the payable due is currently 0. So in this way I can add the expense, and then it would be visible as a labor report on the particular vendor. So if I have to check in my expense as well, let's go there and check. So for that I have to go to my project payments, and then in the expense I can see that I have dispersed 7,800 rupees to Mr. Raghav with the contract that is for the labor contract. So in this way you can add an expense, and that expense can be dispersed. So now we'll discuss how you can make this labor report visible in the client tab. So let me just show you the client tab simultaneously. So this is the client tab interface, as a client can write their phone number and they can log in. So I have received an OTP on my WhatsApp. Let me just write that. And now I can sign in. I'll select the project. So now if I open the particular project, here I cannot see any labor report here. So now I have to enable this. So for this I have to go to my labor report, and here I have to make it as client visible. So now as I have made it as client visible, in the client tab you can see that it has been visible now. So if I click on this labor report, that analytics as well as the overview both are visible in the client tab as well. So in this way you can enable the labor report, and the client can also track the labor status. So now the last thing that I want to discuss is how it would be visible in the report section. So for that you have to scroll down and you have the section of report here. So if I go to this option of reports, and I would select the project, that is my interior design project, and if I click on search, it would show me the category. In the category I have the option of contract, and there in the contract also I can see the labor report contract. So in this way I can track the total labor report of the project, how much money I have paid to a particular labor. I can do it vendor wise as well. For example, if I want to see what I have paid to the particular vendor, so in this way, you can use Dzylo's labor report feature, and you can make it project wise, and to each labor you can have a fixed amount, and you can calculate the total options. Thank you so much. Hope this video was helpful.